What's going on, everybody? And today I've got a special little Foot Knight build for you. Talking about Foot Knight, his passive ability, Protective Presence, is an aura that reduces damage taken by 15%. Career skill, Valiant Charge. Marcus charges forward, slamming into enemies and knocking them back. He's also got Tal's Fortitude, extra stamina shield, no guts, no glory, reduces damage taken by 10%. So for this build, we're not really going to be worrying about damage reduction. We're going to be pretty offensive, actually. So for THP, I like Bloody Unstoppable. Damaging multiple enemies in one swing with a melee weapon grants temporary health, maximum 5 enemies per swing. This is really good for what we're going to be doing, because it's going to be fast swings, lots of enemies being cleaved at once. It's going to be great. You also have staggering enemies, but that's more for like a hammer, like a shield, something like that. And then heal share. I never really like heal share because you're not able to make temporary health at all, so it's just kind of, not my thing. Down here, crowd clear. Pushing an enemy increases attack speed by 15% for 3 seconds. And you might be thinking, well, why not use Have At Thee or Staggering Force, something like that. Have At Thee is really good. Staggering Force, for the weapon we're going to be using, not so great. Crowd clear, there's a reason I've chosen this one, and it's pretty much dependent entirely upon the melee weapon. We'll get into it in the gear section, but just note that this is going to work pretty well with the weapon that we're going to be using. So, extra attack speed with this talent right here, love it. Enhanced power. Increases total power level by 7%. This gives you 10% increased damage for melee and range attacks. It also gives you a little bit of extra cleave, which is what I'm going to be loving for this build. Also down here, Tal's Champion increases power level by 10%, but you remove any damage reduction and it no longer affects allies. So you pretty much lose all your damage reduction, but you do get 10% more power. This is a little bit of a risking it kind of talent, a risky talent, but I think we're going to benefit greatly from the increased damage and the increased cleave with this build, and we probably won't even need the damage reduction. Counterpunch. Blocking an attack removes the stamina cost of pushing for 1 second. So pushing with this build is going to be necessary for elites, Chaos Warriors, things of that nature, armored guys. So Counterpunch is definitely going to help us out in that regard. Down here, I like Numb to Pain. It just gives you 3 seconds of invulnerability when you do your dash. But he's also got Trample. Each enemy hit by Valiant Charge takes 20% increased damage for 15 seconds. This is not a bad one at all if you want to help your allies do a little bit more damage. And there's also Bull of Osland. Each enemy hit with Valiant Charge grants 3% attack speed for 10 seconds, stacks up to 10 times. So it's basically whatever you feel like you're needing. Do you need more attack speed? Do you want enemies to take more damage? Or do you just want invulnerability? I'm a pretty simple person. I like invulnerability. It works well for me. His ult has a short cooldown, so this is going to be pretty nice. For the gear, yes, believe it or not, I'm using the Greatsword. Crit chance, attack speed, and swift slaying. Now, if you're the kind of person that really hates the Greatsword, you can definitely swap out for the Executioner Sword, or even the Halberd, but I think the Greatsword fits pretty well with this build. And I'll talk about it. But mainly, it's just a complete freaking, like, a horde clearing awesome melee weapon, right? Like, it's totally just meant for hordes. You've got, like, diagonals all the way, right? Like, come on. It's a pretty decent weapon. But if you really hate this weapon, Executioner Sword is a decent sub-in. Pretty big damage on this one. Solid cleave, although you probably won't be pushing super much with that, so maybe change it to Have At Thee. Maybe change this. I don't know. I like the Greatsword. I think it fits well with this. I've always been a repeater handgun kind of guy. Your ranged weapon here really doesn't matter. It's not super important. I just do this to help out with monsters a little bit, because Kruger's not a great monster killing career, so whatever I can do to help with that pretty much is what I'm going to do. Crit chance, power versus monsters, barrage. Pretty simple. The necklace, I go for health, block cost reduction, and bark skin. I think that's kind of a no-brainer since he does lose all his damage reduction. Bark skin's going to help him out in that way. Plus, you get a little bit of block cost reduction and extra health. Very nice as well. Charm, Powers, Chaos, Attack Speed, and Concoction. You can definitely go for like Decanter or Proxy. It's not a huge deal. His cooldown's pretty low. I think it's like 30 or 40 seconds, so you have some options as whatever you want to do. But I like Concoction myself. And then the Trinket for Legend and Under, Crit Chance, Curse Resistance, and Shrapnel. Probably my favorite combination for the Trinket. I have some characters where I use Revive Speed instead of Crit Chance, but this is not going to be one of them. We're going to need that Crit Chance to trigger our Swift Slaying. It's going to help us out a lot. Well, there it is. There's the build. If you guys like it, definitely let me know. If you have never tried this, definitely give it a try. I think it's pretty good. Thanks.